Hello, my crafty friends. It's Andrea from Prairie Sky Papercraft, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Manitoba. Celebration is winding down, and I thought that I would use our Catching Butterflies free stamp set probably for the last time for my celebration videos. We are also going to be using the Sunshine and Rainbows Designer Series paper, which is also free with a $60 purchase. I love this paper. It's got so many fun, bright colors. And you can use it for birthday cards and feel better cards and just thinking of you cards. Really, pretty much anything goes. I have gotten quite a few packs of this during celebration because I just love it so much. This is going to be used for our school birthday cards, I think, for the rest of the year. So I had mentioned in one of my videos last week about paper piercing, which is what we're going to do today. And I actually just noticed that the cloud pattern mirrors the patterns in the paper, which is really quite fun. This is going to be the background. Now, this is perfect for a beginner. We're just going to do basic cuts and basic layers. So the first thing that I've done was I cut a piece of cardstock in half, 8.5 by 5.5. And when we fold it in half, we're going to get 4.25 wide by 5.5 tall. So I'm going to cut our paper. Usually when I do matting, I like to do 1/4 inch increments. So if it's 4.25 inches, my next layer size is going to be 4 inches. And then height is going to be 5.25. And then you just keep going down 1/4 inch. It is possible to go smaller, but that's just my preference. So I have this layer cut. This is going to be our Fussy Cut. So we're going to get right to that. And I am doing a tiny little bit of coloring today with my watercolor pencils. So because I'm not doing a wet medium when I am coloring, I'm going to stamp in Memento, which is a dye-based ink. I like to do it this way, ink to paper, so that I can see that everything is covered. And then just close our ink pad up so nothing falls. And because I'm doing a layer, I'm going to stamp her close to the edge of my white layer because I am going to cut it. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to flip it and I'm going to stamp it differently. Because looking at her, I've stamped this more than once. I should realize this. But it's fine. There's butterflies that go with this, and I want her looking up at the butterflies. So we're going to do it this way. And we can still trim it down. Okay, so there's our girl. While I still have my stamp and my ink close at hand, I'm going to stamp it again. Now, I don't need to be so fussy with the cutting because the only piece really, or with the stamping I should say, the only piece that I care about for this part is her dress. And for this one, I am going to get as close to the edge as I can. I don't even really care about her legs. And then we're just going to take our scissors set that off to the side. And then we're just going to cut out the dress. This is a perfect thing to do. Like I said, if you're just starting out and you don't have a whole bunch of tools, if you don't have punches and dies and all of that, fussy cutting, which is what I'm doing right now, is a great way to add a little bit of interest to your cards. Now this is a tiny little arm, so it's not a big deal if you don't get it exact. I'm going to cut off her hand. And then I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to hold this so I don't cut myself. There we go. So really, it just takes a tiny little bit of concentration to get the cutting done. Now, if you have designer series paper that has a big pattern, you can absolutely do the same thing with that as well. And then just fussy cut out the patterns. Sometimes I'll get the coordinating die set, but not all the time. And if I do that, then I will... Oh my goodness. My hand's not working very well today. It's a bit of a challenge at the moment. Sorry, I didn't want to cut something that shouldn't have been cut. Sometimes I'll just grab scissors and fussy cut it anyway, because sometimes it's faster than pulling it out. So then you can see we're just going to put this dress right over top. Grab some glue. I'm just using adhesive for this one. You can use any kind of glue, and then we're just going to place it right over top of the other stamped area. Now we're going to give her a quick color. Calypso Coral is my favorite for Caucasian skin tones. And we're going to do Cajun Craze and Early Espresso for her hair, I think. Actually, this one's a little sharper. I do have a couple of each color, just because when I was teaching in-person classes, it was so much easier to have more than one set. And I love the coloring pencils. I use them quite a bit. And we'll just do color her hand a little bit. Sounds like the dog's going outside now. It's really cold here today. They really don't want to be out. And then we're going to do her hair in Early Espresso. I'm just going to kind of highlight a few pieces. You don't need to be too terribly fussy with this. It's the art of coloring. I just love it because it's fairly quick, fairly easy, and it just gives a nice little bit of dimension here. And I'm just pressing really lightly. You can always press a little bit harder if you like. I'm just going to do a little bit. I think her hair needs to have a little bit more pressure applied. Coloring is so relaxing. And there are so many mediums with Stampin' Up! That you can use to color with as well. All right, I think we're going to call that done. Well, maybe not. Okay, perfect. And then we're going to grab our stamp set and our butterflies, and we'll place our girl here. Grab our butterfly stamp and our Memento ink pad, and we're going to do tap, tap, tap again. Get a little bit of ink onto it, And I think for our butterfly color, let's see, we're going to set these guys down here. I think our butterflies, we're just going to pick up a little bit of the pink and a little bit of the blue. Actually, this is Coastal Cabana that I'm using, and Melon Mambo. And again, just kind of quick and dirty. It's more of a watercolor look than a solid color, I think, for me today. Kind of outline it a little bit. And these aren't, the butterflies aren't a solid pattern either. So it's got like a little bit of an open area. So I find it a little bit more casual. It's quick and easy. I mean, you can be as detailed or not as you choose to. You can color it or not. That's one of the things that I love about creating, is it's totally up to the person who's making it. Okay, so we've got our girl done. I'm going to put our pencil crayons back into my container, and then we're going to give this a bit of a trim. So the width that I have is 4 inches by 5 1/4 for our paper. So I want to make sure that we're not going to be any more than 4 inches, but I am going to bring it in just a little bit to cut a little bit closer. If you see your stamped line in your cutting gutter, the ink or whatever the image is that you see will be cut. This I've got off to the side, so it's good to go. And then I'm just going to trim a little bit closer to her feet and a little bit closer to the top of the butterfly. And usually I like to go bottom to top when I'm cutting, because it pushes it into the guard here so that it's not going to be pulled down as you're cutting it. So I did stamp on the other side, but you can see that, well, now you can probably see a bit through it because the light's coming through. But when you layer it down onto your cardstock or your designer series paper, you're not going to be able to see anything through. So we're going to take our piece of designer series paper. I'm going to do cloud side up for this one, and I like to do 2 strips down the side. I think I made a cutting mistake. I'll just double check this. I think I did, actually. See, you can be doing this for a while, and yeah, I did. This is 5 3/4. So I'm just going to cut the strip. I'll keep that other piece as a base or a layer piece or a tag or something. So I'm going to cut this at 5 1/2. That hasn't happened in a while. Now, with the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, it also has, I'm not sure how that got stuck there. It also has a scoring tool. So this little one with the dot is our score tool. It's just a little wheel. So I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. Fold it in half. And grab my bone folder just to kind of burnish the edge really, really well. So it folds nice and flat. And now we're going to put our designer series paper on top. I don't get too terribly fussed about much when I'm crafting. It's all fixable. Okay, so then we have our girl. Wonder if you know what, this will fit. We're just gonna put our sentiment on the corner as well before we go to stick her down. Now, I haven't used the sentiment before, so what I like to do, if I haven't inked something up before, is just do a little tester off to the side to make sure that it's going to stamp correctly. And because I don't have the sticker on this one yet, I also want to make sure that it's right side up. And we'll just plunk our sentiment down here. And then we are good to go, actually. No, I don't think so. This card does need a little bit of something, something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of bling, because I think a little bit of bling always makes a card kind of stand out. So I'm going to put this slightly offset. And we're going to use the Rhinestone Basic Jewels. They are one of my go-tos. They don't usually stray too terribly far out of my line of sight. And my Take Your Pick tool, I absolutely love. It's got this putty end that's got like sticky tack on the bottom of it that we're going to use to pick up our gems. Just because sometimes it's hard to pull them up with your nail and get it positioned exactly where you want it. So all you need to do is push, flick, and lift. So we're going to do, I like odd numbers for my cards. So I think we're just going to do 3. We're going to do 1, 2, and like 1 over there. So you can see that adding just that tiny little bit of shimmer and shine really does kind of pull the card together a little bit as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this quick little tutorial for paper piecing. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to drop me a line. I'm always here to help. So thank you so much for watching. I'm just trying to get this back into the package. And I hope you have a really great day. Don't forget to hit subscribe down below. Every time a new video is uploaded, you will be notified. Have a great day. See you soon.